And I'm back. All right. I wanted to get into, in this remaining part of the podcast, a bit about the Orange Bastard. He is telling his close circle of gangsters, including his family, that he's pretty sure he's going to be acquitted. And he probably will be, not because the charge against him is not extremely provable, is not in fact correct, but because the people sitting as his jury, half of them anyway, are lying, filthy, rotten Christian fascists. And being such, they would like to see the Orange Bastard continue, if not now, in a couple of years, be their great and exalted leader again, which is one of the things that has gotten me so morose as I watched part of the trial today. But anyway, according to CNN, the Orange Bastard has been reaching out to his so-called aides and advisors. Oh, my God. I just have trying to imagine what a conversation with one of his aides or advisors would sound like. Jesus. But he's been reaching out with them so that they can discuss his impeachment trial. And of course, a couple of them, if not all of them, keep telling Trump that there won't be enough Republican senators who will vote to convict him. All they need is 17. They might have 8 or 9, but 17 members of the Christian Fascist Party who could be honorable, conduct themselves in an ethical manner, rule for justice and the rule of law. One word, bullshit. Never happen. Now, since he left office, of course, sneaking off with his old lady to fly away, not even the goddamn courtesy to stick around and, never mind. What am I talking about? But anyway, he's been fixated on punishing Republican lawmakers who voted to impeach him in the House. See, that's where this criminal son of a bitch's mind is. With most of his attention right now focused on Liz Cheney of Wyoming. And if you remember, there were 10 Republicans, including Cheney, who's third in command in the House, in the Republican Party anyway, to impeach him. 10 Republicans voted to impeach him. And according to CNN, one Trump advisor said that the Orange Bastard is seeking what he calls accountability for Republican House members who, get this, turned against the people. Turned against the people. I am the people, right? Après moi, le déluge. I mean, what is he talking about? The people, they turned against him because he's a criminal son of a bitch. And anyway, this so-called advisor acknowledges that that's a twisted view of reality, as it was Trump, the orange ape, who was trying to overturn the will of the voters. Why is this not so goddamn obvious to these Christian fascist devils who sit in the Senate? Well, I think it is obvious, but because they are unethical, immoral sons of bitches who believe in a twisted religious dogma that is based on blood and death and cannibalism, they are going to continue to look the other way, huh? Now, the major focus in the trial, of course, it started this morning, and I think it's going to continue, right? Because all today, all they're trying to do today, and by the time you hear this, the vote may have been taken, was to decide whether or not there was constitutional space for Trump to be tried by the Senate now that he's no longer the president. But a major focus will be the speech Trump gave on January 6th, right before the riot, the so-called Stop the Steal rally, where Trump, along with his cadre of filth and slime at the Fox sewer, one of whom has since been cashiered, bye, Lou Dobbs, goodbye, where he continued the lies that he'd been putting out there since right after he got elected the first time, that if he wasn't reelected, it would only be because the presidency had been stolen from him. And after that so-called Stop the Steal rally, remember, thousands of Trump supporters then stormed the Capitol in an insurrection that killed 5 people, actually 7 when you consider the 2 suicides. And former Trump aides recall that when the orange bastard was sitting in the White House while this riot was occurring, stuffing his face with Chick-fil-A and cheeseburgers and peanut butter and bacon sandwiches, he seemed to be having a great time and, quote, loving watching the Capitol mob, end quote. That's according to one former senior White House official. Who do you suppose that was? Now, some of these Republican swine, the Christian fascist swine in the Senate have promised, I promise, I'll swear on the Bible, that I'll keep an open mind on impeachment. Well, that was in the immediate aftermath of the riot that Trump promoted, engineered, and led. But Republican leaders since have become pretty outspoken that the orange bastard isn't at risk of conviction. No, of course not. Look who is judging him. And the clearest indicator came last month when this Republican lump of shit, Rand Paul, senator from Texas, raised a point of order in the Senate that the trial of the next president was unconstitutional, and only 5 Republicans split from the party out of 50, 5 of them. Unreal, 10%, which simply means 90% of the Christian fascist caucus, which used to be called the Republican Party, in the Senate, is willing to observe what they saw this orange bastard do over a course of several years, observe what happened on January 6th, how that was set up, how it was promoted, how Trump goaded people he spits on. He doesn't give a fuck about those people that attended the so-called Stop the Steal rally. Are you kidding me? You saw the video from the little tent enclosure backstage with the bitch who sucks up to Donald Trump Jr. doing a little boogie dance and laughing her ass off, while the people out front were screaming their guts out because speaker after speaker, including Rudy the Pig Giuliani, were goading them any further before the old man walked out there. You saw that video. And only 5 Republicans split from the party to say, it is constitutional to convict this filthy son of a bitch. So while 90% of the Christian fascist caucus in the U.S. Senate have said that, have indicated they're not going to vote to convict, that is probably going to be the trial's final vote. And on that point of order, whether or not it was constitutional, that stupid son of a bitch Rand Paul tried to convince people that it was not constitutional, and Mitch McConnell sided with him. McConnell, who, frankly, and this is not a compliment, who has forgotten more about constitutional law than this curly-haired prick from Texas will ever know. But McConnell, doing what McConnell does, jumped right down into the garbage pit along with Rand Paul and 43 other cowardly son of a bitches and said, no, it's not constitutional. Jesus Christ. But in spite of all that, the House impeachment managers have made it very clear through some of their pre-trial briefs that they filed in this case that they were going to and have, up to this point, mount a forceful case against the orange bastard. And in a filing earlier yesterday, Monday, they wrote, quote, "The evidence of President Trump's conduct is overwhelming. He has no valid excuse or defense for his actions, and his efforts to escape accountability are entirely unavailing," end quote. Yeah, in a logical world, in a world of reality, in a world where Christian fascism was not allowed, that would pass. But that world stops at the door to the Capitol right now. That world stops at the entrance to the Senate chamber and the House chamber. Because inside the Senate chamber and the House chamber reside psychotic, blood cult Christian fascists who, through Donald Trump, have been set loose on democracy. They are not about democracy. They are about their form of cannibalistic, violent, vicious, bloodletting Christianity. That's all they're about. Christian fascists. They want to make America great again, where the coloreds shut the fuck up, as did the women, as did the immigrants, only now let's round up the immigrants and throw them out of the country. And let's establish power the way power should be established, top down, all men. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.